Good morning, beautiful people of Abuja. Welcome to Premium Times, half hour brought to you by Premium Times on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Chabaka Okafo, and I'm bringing you today's update all the way from the city of Abuja. And I'd like to find out how hot it is in your area this morning, because the weather is really hot and the sun's so scorching. Despite the good rains we've had in the last 2 days, I think we've had rains from here and there and they've been good. But today we will be talking about something which is very important to us, I think, especially with regards to what the weather is looking like in Abuja and in several parts of the country. On Tuesday was International Forest Day and was celebrated in all parts of the world with the theme Forest and Health. And we will be joined in the studio this morning by David Michael, Executive Director, Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Protection. But before we bring up David Michael up to the microphone this morning, I'd like to remind us that this is an audio-centered program, which means you can call us on any of the numbers I'll read out shortly to weigh into the conversation and to contribute. Tell us how the weather condition is in your environment, and also if you have any trees planted in your environment. The numbers to call are 090-3222-9797, 090-3222-9797. The other number to call is 081-8222-2205, 081-8222-2285. And another number you can call is 081-8222-2206, 8222-2206. Those are the numbers to call. Before we delve into the program for today and the conversation, of course, I'd like to bring you up to date on some headlines from Premium Times this morning. We have an analysis on how Zamfara governor squandered goodwill and lost to PDP in the just concluded governorship elections. It's Ramadan already, so Ramadan Kareem to every Muslim faithful in the country, and President Buhari wishes Muslims all over the country happy Ramadan. Another headline here is the incumbent governor of Adamawa saying he is so sure he would win the rerun in Adamawa State. We're aware that INEC declared the governorship elections in Adamawa inconclusive, and the incumbent governor, Amadou Fintiri, is very sure that he will win the state governorship election over Aishatu Dahiru, popularly known as Binani. It's official, PDP candidate wins Enugu governorship elections. Congratulations to the people of Enugu. You have a new governor. Labour Party wins Abia State. Emmanuel Oti is now the new incoming governor of Abia State under Labour Party. Nigeria recorded 3.8 million cyber attacks during gubernatorial state assembly elections, Minister of Digital Economy Supantami has said. Those are the headlines we have from Premium Times this morning. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we will be joined by David Michael to discuss International Forest Day, or World Forest Day if you like, and what it means for Nigerians and, of course, the world at large. Stay tuned.
Individuals and organizations accountable. We have cartoons, videos, podcasts, and other interesting content for your delight. For timely update on politics, entertainment, sport, and business, visit our website on www.premiumtimesng.com and follow us on all our social media platforms. Don't miss out. Investigations, special reports, analysis, and breaking news. Premium Times, a leading multimedia news platform, brings to you every minute stories that helps you make informed decisions and hold public officials, individuals, and organizations accountable. We have cartoons, videos, podcasts, and other interesting content for your delight. For timely update on politics, entertainment, sport, and business, visit our website on www.premiumtimesng.com and follow us on all our social media platforms. Don't miss out. Investigations, special reports, analysis, and breaking news. Premium Times, a leading multimedia news platform, brings to you every minute stories that helps you make informed decisions and hold public officials, individuals, and organizations accountable. We have cartoons, videos, podcasts, and other interesting content for your delight. For timely update on politics, entertainment, sport, and business, visit our website on www.premiumtimesng.com and follow us on all our social media platforms. Don't miss out.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Premium Times Half Hour, brought to you by Premium Times on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. And this is an audio-centered program, which means you can call us to weigh in on the conversation. And today's conversation is on International Forest Day, or World Forest Day, if you like. And we will be talking about the importance of the forest, of course, to human beings and human life, and of course, all the living things within the ecosystem. We will be joined by David Michael, like I said earlier, who is the Executive Director for Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Protection. But before we are joined by Mr. Michael, I'd like to bring this up on a few statistics here and there on what forests means to the world and of course should mean to us. Approximately 75% of the world's accessible fresh water for agricultural, domestic, industrial, and environmental uses come from the forest. 75% is a lot of number, a lot of percentage, I beg your pardon. That's leaving us with just 25% out of 100. So if that was a gradient in school, that is an A+. Forests are important in regulating climate and are particularly important in sustaining communities and supporting the biodiversity, but they are increasingly under pressure. If you have been cutting down trees in your area for firewood, if you have been cutting down big trees, economic trees to sell in your environment or in a forest close to your community or your village, this is a call to you to say you should desist from such activities, as you are denying all of us the importance of good life and good living. As hot as the environment is now, you know the importance of going to sit under a tree for tales by moonlight or for fresh air. And if you have cut out or cut down those trees in your environment, you know that the only thing over your head right now is the scorching sun, and you are the cause of your problem, if I dare to say. So right now, I'll bring on Mr. Michael to the microphone, who is here with us in the studio to say good morning, Mr. Michael.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining this conversation. So, International Forest Day, a lot of people will wonder, why is it important to celebrate forests?
So, if you are breathing today, breathing fresh air, you should say thank you to a tree. Thank you to a forest. Actually, the International Day of Forest was on Tuesday, March 21st. And since 2011, the United Nations declared this day as a very special day to remember the importance of forest. For me, I say Forest Day is every day, because every day we breathe in fresh air. And right from primary school, we're taught and we know that we breathe out carbon dioxide and we take in fresh air, oxygen. So the trees take this carbon dioxide and purify it and give us back oxygen, which keeps us alive. Apart from this, forest plays a major role in regulating the ecosystem. What do I mean? First, you mentioned the purification of water. So, forest helps to purify water. So, if you listeners just think about the forest in your community. For those of you who don't go to the village regularly, you might just remember growing up as a young person, there must be a forest somewhere in your community. The question is that forest still there? And then what were those things that you used to see around the forest? So water from the forest, usually most forests have sources of fresh water. Now, many communities depend on forests for their livelihood. You have many of such communities in this country. You travel to Cross River State and other indigenous communities. They depend solely on the forest. They get their food from the forest. I mean, a typical example, you know, Nigerians, we love ogbono soup very well. That ogbono is called bush mango. you get it only from the forest. It is not what you plant around your home. And you know how expensive it is.
Yeah.
So these rural people make a living out of harvesting and processing and selling this ogbono. How about the air quality? We'll be talking about breathing fresh air. Without trees who help to purify, absorb all the pollutant and give us back fresh air, many of us wouldn't be alive. And a typical example is why Abuja is so hot today. And in your home, if you're looking for, and we have these power issues, there's no power. The best place to go to is to stay under a tree shade. You know, trees also help greatly in biodiversity conservation. Where do all the animals live? They are in the forest, right?
Yeah.
So when you destroy the entire forest, you are destroying the habitat of these animals. This year's theme for the Forest Day is Forest and Health. Which clearly tells you that forest plays a major part on our health. So, most of our people depend on herbs from the forest that treat illness. It's not just herbs in terms of native doctor, you know.
Yeah.
Even the pharmaceutical companies get, products from the forest that are used to produce medicines that take care of our illnesses, respiratory illnesses. For example, if you have forest cover around your community, we know these things, the fresh air, you just go around the forest and you feel very fresh. You are so stressed, so tired of the no cash issue, so tired, so stressed of the election palaver, so stressed of no power, and you just take a walk to the forest and just see nature, and you feel very
good,
refreshed and very good. So forest actually plays a major and a very critical part in addressing climate change. It's a top among the nature-based solutions that we can at least do to reduce the impact of climate change.
I was coming to that, but you beat me to it. But before I get into that question, will be to just put figures to where you said you use the example of the ogbono we enjoy, and that's one of my favorite soups, and you say this is bush mango. I had no idea where it came from. I thought it was just some cash crop people farmed or planted in their farmland. And this goes to further enforce and put facts to the figure that 31% of the world's population depend on forest goods and services for their livelihood. And you know what that means. That's 31% of the world's population. That's a lot of number. And again, forests cover nearly 31% of land surface globally. So if we have 100% of land in the world, forests alone occupy 31% of this land, which means that that's 4.06 billion hectares, and leaving you and I. So each one of us has 0.52 hectares to themselves, and I really have to find where this land is so that I can start preserving mine and making sure I build a village around the trees to protect myself. But question there on how forests can help us combat climate change and the effects we see is to speak to deforestation and afforestation. And when I opened, I made mention of people cutting down trees for firewood, for money, timber, and different reasons. And I'm asking, even the federal government put out a bond sometime last year to, for planting of trees in different part of the country. And Premium Times did an investigation and saw that most of these trees were not planted.
Now, this is where the big issue is, and this is where it is important to mark this day and remind people about the importance of forests. So, simply saying, stop cutting down trees and plant more. Now, in the country, Nigeria, or let me say globally, we're looking at 10 million hectares of land is deforested every year. So of that percentage that you mentioned, I'm not sure it is what it is right now, because every second trees are being fed. Even in Abuja now, if you go around, you will see, right? In Africa, it is the same. Over 4 million hectares are gone. In Nigeria, I think we have lost nearly 90% of our forest cover. What we have remaining that we can call forest is just, a small part in Cross River State.
Yeah.
Every other place, forests are gone. Why? What are those factors responsible for this? Logging is there, right? People must build. We use timber, we use wood. But the thing is, it is not just to cut down tree. We are not saying don't cut. You must cut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you cut, what do? You replace. And that's where the problem is. Look at the quantity of charcoal that we are currently, producing in the country.
Yeah.
It is, you go to every market, every street is charcoal. What is responsible for it? Gas has become so expensive, and so people are relying more on charcoal. Where the charcoal comes from?
From trees.
From trees, right? The papers we use in our offices, where do they come from? From trees. The firewood, where do they come from? From trees. So if we are using the forest product to support ourselves, support our lives, which it is not a bad thing, what we need to do is to replace. And so we must make conscious effort, to plant trees. So the issue you raised about the money that was raised from the bond, I think I read that report, and it was a very good report. I think it was done. Okay, let me not mention his name.
By Abdulkarim.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now the issue is, politically, we plant trees on pages of newspapers.
Wow.
But on the ground, nothing is done.
How do people plant trees on pages of newspapers?
So it's easy to come and mention that this year we are going to plant 50 million trees, and everybody claps. And maybe you even declare one day that, today is a day for planting trees. And you have a minister there and a few government officials come and plant a few trees, and they leave. And that is the end. So what happens to the remaining number? Nobody plants, nobody checks. So it is not just about planting trees. Okay, it is about planting and nurturing trees. When you plant that big number of trees, there must be mortality rate. Some will die. You have these animals that will feed on some. So it's not just enough to just go and plant. It is that you plant and you nurture and ensure that they survive.
Yeah.
The rains are just coming. This is the right time to plant right now, so that when they go through the cycle of the rainy season, they establish, and then they can survive, on their own. So this is the missing link with afforestation projects in our country, in quotes. So sometimes I don't like to look at the political angle alone and say, let government plant trees, and as individuals.
Yeah, so I'm going to quickly come in there to ask the question: if our leaders are not doing it right, if they are not leading by example, like the cliche we always say, lead by example, how can citizens come in to show our leaders how it should be done? For me, I think governance is always a collective responsibility, and we should know how to complement each other. Of course, we elect people into positions and appoint people into positions to represent us and to help us make certain decisions, but there are also decisions that we can take by ourselves. And an example within Africa, so it's not like we're looking up to the West for all the solutions. Gabon is an example of how much they've conserved their forest life, and it's looking very great. And imagine getting paid for conserving your forest, and that's a business angle to these things. And how can we as citizens, first for the sake of our lives, for livelihood, because of course these trees help in trapping greenhouse gases and help us, live well, breathing good air, quality air, and of course good water. And yesterday was just International Day for Water, and you see how all these things are woven around each other, how they can't do without the other. You can you can't afford to have bad forests and expect to have good water. It's not possible, if you ask me. So how can we as citizens work together in our little spaces to see that forest life in Nigeria is preserved? And I think that's where the mantra, if you fall one tree, or if you take out one tree, you should plant two. And for me, I would say nothing stops you from planting additional 5 or more of them. Because then there's the guarantee that the two will blossom and be alive. It's really slim. So the more the merrier. Yeah.
So first, let's start at the community level before we get into individuals.
Yeah.
So in most communities, the forest is owned by communities, and because of the role it plays, community leadership needs to come in to ensure that these forests are protected, not just for themselves, but for the future of the unborn children. So you have communities where you have forests that are totally protected, that people are not allowed to go in. No, this is where it starts from, right? So communities can benefit from the forest, like you've mentioned. I know that communities in Ghana, in Gabon, in Amazon get carbon credits for protecting and preserving their forest. There is something called sustainable forest management. And in this case, you are not saying cut down all the trees, but you can cut down those matured trees, and make profit from it while you plant more and nurture the others, to grow. So the community need to take ownership of their resources. Is this their own resources that protects and benefits them? Last year when we had the floods, where did it go? It's communities that were impacted, right?
Yeah.
And trees also help in reducing the impact of floods. They also help in reducing soil erosion. They also help in forming soils so that our farmers can plant and have more yield. So, and all of this is in communities. So when you destroy this thing, what are you doing? You are indirectly destroying yourself.
Sure.
So that is where you should start from. Now, coming to the individual, let me ask the question to everyone. How many trees do you have in your home? How many trees do you have in your neighborhood? Now the rains are here. You see the strong winds that is coming with the onset of the rains. You will even still have more strong winds towards, the cessation of the rains. So, and when this come, the trees help to reduce the speed of the rain so that they don't blow off your roof and structures. But this is what is happening. You hear rainstorm here is taking away people's houses, blowing off roof. Who is impacted? It is you. So you keep waiting for the state management agency and the NEMAs to come. It takes days, and it is you that is at risk. So that's why we need to plant more trees. Okay, in your home, if you have a space, I know Abuja is, with the space, people would prefer to build more houses than to have green spaces.
Yeah.
Back then in Abuja, I was privileged to school here, like I had a secondary school in Abuja here. And growing up, along the airport road, it was like forest everywhere else. But you can see the developers, what do they do? If they want to build the estate, the first thing they do is they clear off all the trees. And then nobody is building. Unfortunately, there is no punishment, there is no repercussion for it, and so these things continue.
Yeah. So because we've run out of time on this particular program and this topic, we'll be to ask you to give final words on how we can move forward as a people to conserve and preserve forest life, and in turn also, increasing our own lifespan, if I may use that expression.
So first, I would like to thank the Premium Times for this program. This is the first thing that we need to do. We need to create more awareness. I'm sure a lot of people don't know the importance of trees. If you know the importance of trees, you will not cut them down. So people should plant trees. If you fall one tree, plant more. But for the government, there must be a state of emergency declared on forest so that we can restore our forest cover in this country. And lastly, I will say that when you protect the forest will protect you.
Sure that. We have been speaking with Mr. David Michael, who is the Executive Director for Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Protection. Unfortunately, we've run out of time for today's program, but before we go, I'd like to bring us up to date on the headlines from Premium Times this morning. Abia State has a new governor from the Labour Party by name Emmanuel Oti. He is the incoming governor of Abia State, and the first governor Labour Party will be producing in Nigeria. Congratulations to the people of Abia, and we see the excitement in the streets. PDP has also won governorship elections in Enugu State, and congratulations to the incoming governor and the people of Enugu State. We have an analysis on how Zamfara governor squandered goodwill and lost to PDP in the just concluded governorship and House of Assembly elections. The incumbent governor of Adamawa State, Amadou Fintiri, has said he is super sure that he would win the rerun in Adamawa State against Aisha Dahiru, popularly known as Binani. How INEC massively deducted my vote to facilitate Tinubu's victory, that's Atiku. And also, Tinubu speaks on violence during governorship poll, says healing process must begin now. These are the headlines from Premium Times this morning. For more, you can visit our website on www.premiumtimes.ng. I beg your pardon, www.premiumtimesng.com. This is where we wrap up for today's program on Premium Times Half Hour, brought to you by Premium Times on Citizen FM 93.7. For more headlines, entertainment, news and politics, cartoons, videos, exclusive special reports, visit our website once again on www.premiumtimesng.com and follow us on all our various social media handles at Premium Times. This is where we round up for today. From myself, Chemaka Okafor, and Mr. David Michael, who joins us for today's program, talk about International Day of Forest. We say thank you and enjoy a good weekend.